Gregor, we were talking about this, like business planning changes as markets change and as the size of your team or your growth goals change. So walk through a little bit kind of what you're doing now, because this will have been your best year ever in the lending space, correct?
Yep.
And now looking at next year, we've all done the same analytic and determined unless there is a natural disaster, God forbid, plane hitting a building, war, etc., next year is going to be along the same lines as good. Rates will stay low. You're going to see an influx of stimulus from the government. You're going to see a vaccine, which tends to make people optimistic about things coming back. Go over what your planning looks like and how you set out both strategically and tactically to build out what's going to be your next, the best year you've ever had in business, beating this one you just had.
Well, that's a good question. And I think that, I think that all of us can relate that when you get a big paycheck, you don't want to go backwards. And so the only way to do that is to maintain, for me, it's the staff, right? So when we got kind of blindsided with COVID shutdown, and then oddly enough, I'm thinking, what are we going to do? Am I going to have to lay people off? To then rates plummeting and the phones blowing up and not having enough staff, to then trying to hire really quick and train people. It's been this evolution. And, I don't think business planning, although we talk about it in December, it needs to be talked about monthly, quarterly, semi-annually, checked in on. It can't be, wow, I'm writing this goal down again this year, and I wrote that down last year and the year before, versus I want to execute on that. And I think people have a depth perception problem. They think, hey, I'm going to write this goal and I've got till next year to accomplish it. What if you said, hey, I need to sprint. I need to knock this out in 90 days, or at least take action on it, so I'm moving a lot closer to that goal rather than rushing near the end of next year. So for me, staffing was number one, and then training was number two. So if I knew that it took, like in real estate, probably 3 to 5 transactions, and then you need to hire another body, then if you want to do 5 or more a month, you got to already think, I need a strong TC. I need, then what's the next hire, right? So for me, if I'm at probably 10 loans per body, if I want to do 50, I need 5 bodies. Do I have the 5? Are they trained appropriately? So making sure that I have the right people, but then that I'm training them up really quick, and then continuously to train them to get them going.
It's funny, isn't it, Greg? Because we talk a lot, we're going to get into some of the tactics and tools and models and things. But generally, especially if you're talking about growth from 20 transactions to 40, 100 transactions to 200, anything over 300 transactions a year, all the time, it's always a who problem, not a what problem. You're going to need who. And I will challenge folks on the phone, how much time do you actually spend recruiting talent the way you do recruiting buyers, sellers, following up with your email, which is one of the worst communications there is in America today. But we think that's busy, we got to do it. If you don't have allocated a minimum in my world is 3 to 5 hours a week of quality people recruiting. By the way, these are people that I may not hire or may not ever need for 1, 3, 5, 7 years. It does not matter. You can't recruit people when you're dead busy because everybody looks like they're a great hire. It's like being starving and looking in the fridge and seeing a week and a half old ham sandwich that you're like, that's probably good enough. That'll probably work. It's not how it works in this day and age. You all should be thinking about the hostesses, waiters, waitresses, bartenders, managers, teachers, all these people that you've known in your life that you think are talented, personable, high velocity, high likability, all things that work in real estate really well. You should be making a list, pinging them on all social media, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and start building rapport. That's how you start to recruit talent. And you, Greg, as you said, it's not fast, because once they come in real estate especially, you're lucky if you can get an agent trained up to be capable. 90 days to talk to people, take buyers around, maybe another 2 months. So you're 5 to 6 months. So you've got to be having them on that kind of ready mark, ready to go. How long, Greg, for you to get people up and running.
Yeah, that's about right. You're talking 90 days before you want them on the phone. And I have a pretty rigid training protocol here to get them there. And, you know, like I said, my mistake last year was not having a bench. If I had a couple people just waiting in the wings to plug in when rates dropped a whole point, it would have been I would have closed, you know, 800, not 600 loans. Like it's just a thing. So now what do I have? I have a bench. So I'm staffed appropriately. I got 2 people on a bench that are ready to pull in. And from my operation side, I'm training all my junior operations to be able to jump into senior operations at the drop of a dime next year as well.